Hello, friends. I am Farrah, and welcome to my channel. If this is your first time here, welcome. If you're coming back, welcome back. On my channel, I blog about tiny house living, empty nesting, and finding freedom. That is my main goal in life right now, finding freedom, getting off the corporate ladder. Matter of fact, I might change my channel name to Farrah Finding Freedom. So today, I know it's been a while since I have been on here. It's been about a month since I posted the video, but life has been lifing. Um, I have been, this life has been lifing. So today I am going to do a requested video, or I ain't saying necessarily a requested video. A lot of people ask me questions, so instead of constantly asking these questions, I'm just going to refer them to this video from now on. So um, okay, so the first question I get a lot is, who built your tiny house and why did you choose them? My house was built by Platinum Cottages. My dealer was Recreational Resort Cottages. If you are an avid YouTube watcher, you probably have seen Mr. Tiny on Tiny Home, Tiny Home Tuesday, or Living Tiny with Mr. Tiny. And I started watching his videos maybe about 4 or 5 years ago, and back when I was living in Florida. And after my kids moved out, I was like, I'm going to get my tiny house. And the dealership is only it was only like an hour, maybe 45 minutes from where I was living at the time. So I came over to the dealership and, toured the houses in person and immediately fell in love. I chose them because I love the quality of Platinum Cottages builds. Um, it's a trailer, but all tiny homes are trailers. If you want to be honest about it. It is high quality materials made with sheetrock wood. It's not made of that plastic or that cheap material that you see in a lot of mobile homes. But my house is called a park model RV. It's technically a RV, and it's only 399 square feet. That does not include my loft or my porches. But I chose them largely in part to seeing Mr. Tiny on YouTube and coming and viewing the homes for myself, and falling in love with the homes, falling in love with the floor plan that I have. The floor plan I have is called the Tumbleweed. Mine is a upgraded or modified version of the basic Tumbleweed. I chose this particular floor plan or these particular models because the traditional tiny homes are 8.5 feet wide. I've seen some as big as 10 or some as 12 feet wide. However, I just didn't like, they're usually 8.5 feet wide, but they're like, anywhere from 25 to 50 or 40 feet or 30 feet long. And I liked more of a wide version as opposed to a long version. It's pretty much the same square footage. Like you get, most people max it out at 399 square feet, or somewhere around there. So you get the same square footage. It's just that my house is wide and short. Most people's houses are long and narrow, if that makes sense. And I wanted a wide house. I did not want to have to be, scooching like this because I'm a thick girl. So all this lusciousness. But I just like the wideness of the floor plan. It's, a lot of people see my house and they're like, oh my God, it's so big. It is not big. It's just bigger. It's just wider than most of the tiny homes that you're used to seeing. So I chose this particular builder, just like I said, because I wanted a wide model. And then I wanted, my must have in my bedroom was I must had my king size bed. Like that was a deal breaker for me on all, all things around. I had to have my king size bed. I had to have a tiny house that would fit my king size bed. Um, I chose Recreational and Platinum because they have a very quick turnaround. They produce quality materials in a short amount of time. The entire process took me from the time I went and toured to the time I put down my deposit and had my home delivered. It was less than 3 months. So, and honestly, from the time I put my deposit down till it was delivered, it was probably like 3 or 4 weeks. So it did not take long at all to build my house. And, it did receive some cosmetic damage during shipping. However, they are very good about fixing it. Even maybe never mind, I'm not gonna say that. But they are very good at fixing stuff that's broken. So even if something does arrive with cosmetic damage, it's, they fix it real quickly. I didn't really have many huge problems or things that couldn't easily be fixed. So that's another reason why I chose it. And I just love this. Like, and I have visited over the years and toured many other tiny house builders, even right here in the area of Texas that I live in. But they had their build outs. Their wait list was much longer. I had to be out of where I was at in like 4 months. So, and I know I waited, but I just decided, I wasn't expecting to be an empty nester. So, I really wasn't, didn't know that I would need one that fast, but I knew that with Platinum and with recreational resort cottages, I could have that house within 4 months. As a matter of fact, I got my house 2 months early. So I have nothing but good things to say about them, good things to say about Platinum and Recreational. Why else did I choose this house? I just love it. I love them. I went to Indigo River even before I visited, Recreational, and they build beautiful homes, but they were out of my price range that I wanted to pay. I paid less than 100,000 for mine. Let me think about whether I want to tell you how much I really paid, but that's also in my frequently asked questions. But that is the builder that I use, Platinum Cottages, dealer Recreational Resort Cottages, and those are the reasons why I bought my house from them. So the next question I get often is, what is the square footage and the dimensions of your house? I've mentioned this in previous videos, but I still get questions about it. The square footage of my house is 399 square feet. That does not include my upstairs loft. It is not included in the square footage because it's not considered livable space. It is considered, because it's only at its max, like 54 inches tall. I can't even stand up in it. I have to crawl on my knees or I have to hunch over to get in it. I use it as an office, and I'll be showing you guys that. And I'm not that tall, so when I sit in it, my head has enough clearance to not touch the ceiling. But because it's not a standing, not be able to stand in it, it's not included in the square footage. Also, my porches are not livable spaces, so they're not included in the square footage. So if you were to include the loft and the 2 porches in the square footage, it would probably be around 700 some square feet. But most people's, like their attics and there's things like that are not included in the square footage. So it's not included in the square footage here because anything over 399 square feet is not considered an RV. And, it's not supposed to be taxable, but in some counties it is. So if I moved it, I might not have to pay taxes on it. Right now, I'm currently paying taxes on it. but I'll talk about that on another day. But the dimensions are 15 feet wide by 26 feet long. With the porches, it is 40 feet long. So total dimensions 15 feet wide by 40 feet long with the porches, 15 feet wide by 26 feet long without the porches. So, okay, you guys. So here's another question I get often, and it was kind of answered in the last question. Why does your house look bigger than most tiny houses? My house is not bigger than most tiny houses. My house is wider than most tiny houses. I know several people who have, like my house is only 26 feet long. When I step out of my bed and I walk to my kitchen sink, that is 9 steps. So, it's like 4 steps from my bed to walk around the corner to the bathroom. So, it's not, it looks big, it feels big, which is another reason why I wanted a tiny house, a park model RV tiny house. This is not a tiny house on wheels. I cannot transport it with a truck, or I would have to get a special permit to transport it. But I'm not going to be driving around with no tiny house. So, this is when it gets moved again, it'll probably be its permanent location. I'm looking for land right now. In Tennessee, Texas, and Florida, all states that I've lived in before, all states that are sort of tiny friendly, depending on where you go. And depending on the price, and it's kind of hard to find tiny house land because a lot of places have square footage requirements, and it's kind of a stigma against tiny houses and park model RVs and things about that. But if you step inside of my house, it's just like a small custom built house. It's exactly a small custom built house. It's just on a trailer. All tiny houses are on trailers. It doesn't matter. It's a house on some wheels. So, like I say, it looks bigger because it's wider. It's not longer. Now, some people do have like little teeny tiny houses that are like 20 feet long and 8 feet wide and 8 by 10 and 10 by whatever. I needed some room to breathe, and I wanted to, I'm a homebody. I'm probably just messed up. I'm in my house all the time. I needed some space to stretch out a little bit. It is very cozy in here. Like, I am sitting in the kitchen, and I'm purposely shooting this way because I don't want y'all to see the decorations that I've done. You've already seen the kitchen. There's a few little things added, and I will be showing you more of the kitchen. I have pulled out my drill and added some stuff, but you'll be able to see that soon. But that is why my house looks bigger than most houses, because it's wider. Okay, next question. I get this a lot. How long did it take to build your tiny house? I kind of answered that a little bit in the other questions, but the time from I put my deposit down to the time I got my house was probably about three weeks. Now, I would have gotten earlier, but the week before, they had already finished my house, but it was like Thanksgiving, so everybody was on vacation, which was fine. I was originally told that I would get my house in January 2023. My house was delivered November 30th, 2022. I paid my deposit, I want to say around the end of October. I had my house designed maybe a week or two before that, and I had to deal with some financing issues. I had to gather up the rest of my deposit. That's another thing I get a lot. How did you pay for your house? Was it financed? I'll answer that soon. But the whole process took about 3 months, from touring to delivery, and from deposit, closing, Um, from closing, it probably took like 3 weeks. Literally, it took about 3 weeks from paying my deposit and get my closing to when they delivered my house. And like I say, it was delayed slightly because of Thanksgiving of 2022. Okay, had to take a brief pause for the cause. But okay, we're on to the next question. I believe this is question 5. Um, why did you buy a tiny house, or why did I buy a tiny house? Um, I wanted a tiny house probably for the last 4 or 5 years. I was just looking into affordable housing. I've always lived in these huge houses, 6 bedrooms, 5 bedrooms, 3-story, you know, and that is great when you have kids and, nieces and nephews coming over. But I am in a whole completely different state. The only person here in my family. I have very few friends. And even out of those friends, very few of them actually come to visit. So, um, I just got tired of wasting space, cooling space. Um, I wanted to save money. My living expenses, especially when I pay this house off, hopefully in 3 years. That's my goal anyway. Is to, my living expenses will have gone down to like one, no, maybe like half of what I was paying when I lived in an apartment. On a bad month, my light bill is like $119, but it's usually between 80 or so. And that's probably because I'm home all the time, and I run my AC all the time. It's electronics running in my house all the time. But even with having to pay $120 for a light bill, that's still way cheaper than what I was paying. I was averaging about 270 or more in my 3-story house that I was living in before I moved over here. Um, and when I lived in Florida, sometimes my light bill would be up to $400, if not more. I know my sister always is paying like $400 or $500, sometimes $600 for a light bill in Florida for a 4-bedroom house. So I have way less space to heat and cool. Eventually, when I get my land, I plan to pay for it in cash, which is one reason why I'm not in a hurry to just jump, because I can get it financed. But when I pay for it, I want to be done paying for it, and I want to be done paying for my house soon. So it's really about this finding freedom journey. It's finding, once I have my land that's paid for and my house that's paid for, I don't have to work in corporate America anymore, unless I choose to. Um, you know, I'm trying to get off the corporate ladder as soon as possible. I've always had side hustles. I worked for myself for well over 10 years without working in corporate America. Went back into working for other people after my father died just because it was easier. Um, it was less stressful, you know. But I bought my tiny house because I wanted. I didn't want all the. I didn't want to have to clean all of this stuff. I didn't want a big house. My kids no longer lived here. They don't need their own rooms. When they come to visit, there's a big loft. There's a couch for them to sleep on. And like I say, I rarely get visitors since I've been here. Outside of my neighbors who came to help me in the beginning, I've had 3 visitors. So in the last 4 months, so you know. And 2 of those visitors were strangers. So, um, but me, this is about finding freedom for me. This is about reaching financial freedom. I can move my house anywhere they'll accept tiny homes. I don't know if I'm staying in Texas or not. Right now it's looking like a no. I'm really looking for a reason to stay here. I'm not dating. I'm not, I have friends here, but it's not like I see them all the time. Um, so I don't really have any strong ties to Texas. My family does live in Florida, but I seriously doubt that I'll move back to Jacksonville just because it took me 18 years to get out of Jacksonville after I went there for college. So I don't want to go back because I feel like I'm going to get trapped there again. And there's nothing wrong with Jacksonville. It's just that I don't want to be there. But it is what it is. And Tennessee also has some tiny friendly places. And I lived in Tennessee in college. I lived there for like 3-4 years. I have, a few friends who still live there. One of my best friends, she actually here this past weekend. She still lives there, even though she plans on moving. But I'm trying to convince everybody to buy some land with me and move on there with their tiny houses or their big houses. Nobody wants to do it, so I wish I could get a group of people or a group of family or whatever to live. But I'll probably end up buying my own land and just living in the middle of nowhere because they won't let me put my house in the city. But I bought it for the portability. I bought it for the price. I bought it for the decrease in expenses. I bought it because I'll be financially free of the biggest bill that most people pay, which is their housing expense in the next 5 years. But my plan is to have this house completely paid off in the next 3 years. So that is why. So, okay, what is another question I get asked all the time? Oh, okay. Where is my tiny house parked and how did I find parking? My tiny house is currently parked in a tiny home community, which I do plan on showing you a tour of. I did do a tour of it. I just need to edit the video. It's in a tiny home community in Texas, North Texas. I found my parking. I heard about it through like a Facebook group. Also, the dealership that I got my house from, Recreational Resort Cottages, had like these list of places where you can park your house. So I went around literally one day. I was driving around like 7 hours from one end of the metroplex to the other end of the metroplex. Literally, it was like 7 hours of driving, and I just kept, I just kept coming back to this place. I just kept coming back to this place. Everywhere was far out. That's the unfortunate part about tiny house living. It's not really widely accepted. They won't let you put it in the city because they can't tax it like they want to. So that's why a lot of people are, legislating and advocating to make tiny houses legal. So how did I pay for my tiny house? Well, I'm gonna let you know up front, I did not have a large portion of savings. I did have to pay 20% down on my, a 20% down deposit towards my mortgage. My house is financed by 21st Mortgage. I get that question a lot because people can't find someone to finance tiny houses, but 21st Mortgage finances tiny houses. So I do believe they need to be certified. My house is RVIA certified, and it's like ANSI or whatever. I can't remember the initials right now, but it's certified in two different things. So I financed my house through a mortgage company. They specialize in mobile homes, tiny houses, houses on trailers, things like that. So like I said, I had to put 20% down. That was because of my credit. My credit had been just slightly better, or if I had waited just slightly longer, I would have only had to put 10% down. But I decided just to do it. Because at the end of the day, it's still, you know, 10% less than I have to pay over the long run. So I really, it really did hurt me in the long run because it was money I was gonna have to pay towards my house anyway. So I just had to pay more upfront, and it really wasn't. It was. I had the 10% in cash. I had to do some, finagling, and God provided the rest of it in 2 days. So hey, with real wood, with a 7-year warranty, with all of this, with delivery, first time delivery was free, first time setup is free. It was 95,000 a year, so it doesn't it doesn't take anything out of my pockets. It's really way less than what I was paying in rent. I don't, you know, I don't even break a sweat making my payment. I have lots of money still left in the bank after I pay my mortgage. So, um, let's see what else. Oh, how long have I been living here? They delivered my house November 30th, 2022. I moved in December 10th, 2022. And it is, what is it? April 3rd. Today is April 3rd, 2023. What else? What is? I think that's it for. Okay, so that's it for frequently asked questions. So if anybody else has any questions that I did not ask, or excuse me, if anybody else has questions that I did not answer in this video, feel free to leave them in the comments and I will make another video to answer those questions. If you have any comments about, or if you have any questions about the community that I lived in, or how to find parking, or recreational resort cottages, they should be paying me a commission at this point because I take so many people up there. But if you have any questions about anything, feel free to leave it in the comments and I'll answer you as soon as I can. Thank you guys. And please like, share, and subscribe. Please, please, please. I appreciate you guys so much. And thanks for anybody who reached out. I'm back. Life was lifing. And it's lifing a little bit less. But, I'm going to try to do 2 videos a week again. Maybe more. I have a lot of stuff recorded. I just need to edit it. So, yeah.